Good evening. Welcome to Enfield Congregational United Church of Christ. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. My name is the Reverend Dr. Greg Gray, and it is my privilege to welcome you to the last faith exchange of the season. This is when you say "aw" appropriately. Aren't we sad that this is the last one? I am not, because that means that Election Day is right around the corner and we are about to be through with all of this for a little while. So friends, this is our last faith exchange of the season. And if you have not watched any of our previous ones, let me give you a word about what we are doing here. This church was founded in 1683. We were here before there was a town of Enfield. And so as this church got started, we were at the center of the life of the town. Congregational churches were not originally referred to as congregational churches. We were congregational meeting houses. We were meeting houses because there was more than just religious functions that went on here. All of the town meetings went on. All of the civic functions, all of the social functions, people came together for all of the things, including just to hear the gossip of the day. So we are a part of the town because we're made up of town members. And even though we have moved out of that central place in the life of the town over the course of a few hundred years, we're still interested in what's going on. So over the course of this season, what we do is I have different interviews, one-on-one interviews with our different community leaders, some of them political, some of them non-political, just so that we get to know what's going on in our town. But as we get up to Election Day, we talk to the candidates who are running for election this November. For tonight, we have invited both of the candidates who are running for the 59th district here in Enfield. And I'm sorry to say that Carol Hall could not be here with us. We did have a confirmation that she was going to be here with us a few months ago, but this past week she decided to back out. I am very disappointed in that. I have some interesting questions that I wanted to ask her about. But I'm very thankful that Matt Despard is going to be here with us this evening. Matt, thank you so much for making time for us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Just to let everyone at home know, Matt ran for election this past November, and we had a panel discussion with Matt as he was running for town council. So when we are done here tonight, I will link that video from last year into the comments on this video so that as people want to get to know you and you've answered those questions, we'll have that there. And since we've already done that, we can really kind of dig a little deeper tonight rather than the just kind of getting to know you stuff.
I like it.
Awesome. So, you are running for the 59th district.
Right.
Where is the 59th district?
Right. So, it's the best way to describe it is, although this is not exact, just the general way to understand it is if you drew a line sort of diagonally down Enfield, you'd have the southwestern portion of Enfield and then the northern portion of East Windsor. And over the years, it's been creeping more and more into East Windsor. Now it's about a 70-30 split, 70 Enfield, 30 East Windsor.
Awesome. Good deal. Now, I said that we've already done the getting to know you stuff, but, you know, some people might not know. So just a couple of questions. What's your day job?
My day job is I'm a mental health counselor. I run a small private practice in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, called Longmeadow Counseling. And so where I work with predominantly adults and couples who are coming to me for psychotherapy.
Awesome. I was going to ask a flippant question, but I'll try to keep it professional. How will your day job help you as a 59th district representative?
Yeah, so it helps me a lot in terms of, it's one of those things, and I think you probably understand this as a pastor. Being a mental health counselor, it's more of a vocation than an occupation. It's something I don't turn off ever. I can't leave it at the office. So I'm always sort of listening intently and observing. And I also have training in conflict resolution and very good communication skills. Those have all been very, very important on the town council, and will certainly be even more important if I'm lucky enough to be elected to represent the 59th in the Capitol.
Awesome. So you just got elected to serve on town council.
Yes.
You really enjoy campaigning.
Right. Right. My wife does not.
Poor Danny.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, is there a question there?
No, that was just an observation. Right. that was more of an observation that you really enjoy shaking hands and kissing babies.
Oh, yes. Yes, I love it. That's great.
So, you don't have that long to talk about, but, let's talk about what has happened in the past year.
Yes.
So, now that you have been on town council, you have not just seen how the sausage is made, you were part of the sausage.
Right.
What is the thing in the past year that you were the most proud of?
Oh, boy. That is, it's an incredibly tough question to narrow it down to one, because the new council, the new Democratic majority, has we've been incredibly busy. So, right away we did something. We were one of the first municipalities to give private pay to our municipal employees, which was something I was really proud of, for their work keeping us going during COVID. We also have a small business grant program that's been wildly popular. But, the thing I think I'm most proud of, it's not maybe the flashiest, but we've invested something like $8 million into our critical infrastructure, our sewer infrastructure. And I know that doesn't sound flashy, right? It might even be a little bit stinky. I have corny humor. But anyways.
That's a real shitty way to spend your money, isn't it, Matt?
That's great.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's, but it's that kind of stuff, right? That, when I was on the campaign trail last summer, residents were really saying they really didn't like some of the taxes and some of the fees that come with sort of falling behind on those things. So we made a commitment amongst ourselves and as a council that we weren't going to do that, and we've held our word. And so I feel really, really probably most proud of just being responsible in that way and spending that money responsibly.
Awesome. So everything has not been great the past year. I mean, I'm assuming, not that I keep up with it or anything,
Right.
but I'm assuming that everything was not wonderful. So what could have gone better?
Yeah. So I think what always could go better is, and I sort of mentioned it before, is communication is such a big thing when you're working with others. And so I think there are times when you have communication lapses. Either it could be inside the council itself or inside the party, but it's also oftentimes between parties, and there could be a communication breakdown. And you don't get something done, or maybe you don't get something done as well or as quickly as it should have been done or could have been done had there been better communication. So I would say, on the whole, that's something that can always improve. Personally, it can always improve for myself, and I think it can improve as a group as well.
Okay. So hypothetically, come November 8th, you'll be serving more than just Enfield.
Right.
I understand how you run in Enfield, you run in your district, you serve the people of your district and Enfield.
Right.
How do you now translate that to a larger stage?
Well, I think one of the things that is that I'd be lucky with is that Enfield, we know we have a great government here. We have a really great town manager. Similarly, in East Windsor, they have a wonderful select board and a very great first selectman. And those will be very easy people to work with. So I think, it's not, my job isn't going to be just to go, fix every issue, right? There's going to be a team of people working on that, and a dedicated team of professionals who, I think will make it a heck of a lot easier to do.
Okay. So I know that you, not really at the state yet, not really looking at the docket yet, but just kind of 30,000-foot view. So you get elected November 8th. For those of you watching, that is Election Day. Go vote. What are you looking forward to in the next term?
Yeah, so the legislature did a really great job this term in writing in targeted tax relief for our middle class and our seniors. Now, and it's a 1-year tax cuts. They're in the budget, but it's really what we need to be doing, especially with the economy the way it is. We need to continue that. So that is something I'm looking forward to getting there and making some more long-term changes in that regard. And then something I feel really strongly about, and again, another thing the legislature took a big step with this year was mental health, right? As a mental health counselor, of course, that's something that's really important to me. And really making sure that our schools are well-funded and funded enough to have the sort of counseling that's needed for kids. So that's something that I would really be interested in doing at the state level and really getting involved and bringing my expertise in that way. But number one is going to be tax relief. It's what we need. We need to continue it. We need to expand on that because we need to attract families here. We need to continue doing that, and we need to keep our families here and keep our retirees here. And so I think that's number one on my agenda.
Okay, awesome. So Matt, I have asked this question to a number of people who have sat with me this season, both the candidates for November 8th, as well as just other kind of town leaders. So if you've done your homework and watched the others, then you have a good answer to this. If you haven't, then surprise. So in this church specifically, not some other churches, but this church,
Yes.
we would say that social justice is a matter of faith.
Yes.
And that we take the biblical command to serve the least of these seriously. So the United Church of Christ has been very forward in our pursuit of racial justice, queer rights, equal pay for women. And I know that whenever I talk to people, some people worry about how permanent, how safe those things are. And so my question for you as a town councilor currently, and hypothetically a state rep, are these things safe in Enfield?
That's it's an interesting question, and I'm going to say from my platform that yes, I think they are safe, and I think they're safe because we've done a lot of work. Enfield has come a long way in just a few years on this on this issue. We have we just started, as I know that you know, a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Subcommittee on the Town Council. We are celebrating, social justice, significant events in history. We are doing those things. Now, that doesn't mean it's like safe forever, right? It's not. Unfortunately, there are people who, for whatever reason, don't like even the term social justice or the term equity and inclusion. I don't think that's the majority of people, though, but we do. We need to be vigilant, and I will always stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion, always.
Awesome. Thank you. So a recent NBC poll found that by a more than 2-to-1 margin, that voters were more likely to support candidates who support Roe. Mm-hmm. There was another poll that said that women specifically will vote for candidates supporting choice 87% over no matter like what their other politics are. Where do you stand?
It doesn't surprise me because that is the hallmark issue. It is ultimately the reason why I decided to run this time. I was considering it. Around the turn of the year, when it became clear that that Roe was likely to be overturned, I decided that's why I was going to run, because I was researching our current representative, who is, not a defender of choice, is somebody that I do not believe that is representative of our district. So I am somebody that will always defend a woman's bodily autonomy and her right to medical privacy. It is something I feel fiercely passionate about, and as a guy, I'm scared for that. I can only imagine how women are feeling. So that is just something that is right up there on my issues as for why I'm running and really what my purpose is. I am a staunch defender of that.
Awesome. Yeah, this is the real question why I was the most disappointed that Carol wasn't going to be here.
Me too.
Because, whenever I'm getting ready for the people to come sit with me, I'm going to kind of do my Google searching as to see where people are. And whenever I have seen our other candidates who are men that might not support this, but having a female candidate that votes against reproductive justice, that's kind of disturbing.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that as well.
All right. Yeah. Carol, if you were watching and you would like to make a comment in the comments on this video, we would love to receive that. Also on the ballot,
Yes.
that's a nice segue, right? Also on the ballot this November 8th will be a provision for early voting. Tell me, what are your feelings on early voting in Connecticut?
Oh, yes, please. I mean, please. I hope that will be supported. I hope we institute that. We are far behind, which strangely enough, we are far behind, many deeply conservative states on this issue. And so, look when people have more time to vote, they vote. When more people vote, more people are represented, right? It's pretty simple, and I really have a good feeling that we're going to pass this because it's time.
Yeah, I hope so. I had Cindy sitting in your seat last week, and last Monday was the first day of early voting in Georgia, and broke records for the number of people who came out to vote.
That is wonderful.
Yeah,
that
it was
awesome.
It was absolutely amazing, and I have said multiple times, I'm like, how did I move from Republican Georgia with early voting, with weeks of early voting, to Connecticut and have none?
Right. To that end, and I think we may have talked about this before. Even doing something like making it a Saturday that people vote on, a weekend, like even that would go. And I know that's not the early voting issue, but just if we want more people to vote, which we should, that would be an idea.
Oh my goodness, I want a national holiday.
Ooh,
seriously,
right.
Close everything down. Go to the polls.
Right.
Let's do this. All right, a not so fun topic. In the news today, this morning, there was a school shooting in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. Last Monday, a week ago, schools here in the state of Connecticut were on lockdown from a perceived threat. Right. What do we do?
Yeah.
What can you do? Yeah. Where do we go from here?
Yeah. So this is where I really get on my soapbox and I start really talking about mental health. I mean, I think the incidence of violence that we are seeing in this country, I think it all goes back to mental health. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't and can't have common sense, restrictions, that will help with, say, gun violence, right? A specific method of violence. But really, at the end of the day, the better we do on mental health, I think the less we're going to see this. And we really should have a situation. And I know this might sound utopian, but we really should have services for anybody who wants it. It's not that hard to do, and I think we could get there, but at the very least, we need to be having our kids get the mental health counseling they need so that they don't grow up into adults who think the only way to deal with their problems is to be violent towards other people. And like I said, again, at the same time, that is not to say that we still don't have some work to do. by way of, certain restrictions.
Yeah. I was absolutely just heartbroken that one of the people that comes to church here posted on Facebook last night that she said, it's Sunday, how can it be Monday again and send our kids back to school? Right. And then this morning, it's all on the news that there was a school shooting. But the thing that was seriously the craziest to me is it was on the news this morning. Yeah. And by the time that I turned on the afternoon news, it was gone. Yeah. We weren't even talking about it. 3 people were shot, multiple people were injured, and by the time we got to the afternoon, it wasn't even discussed.
Right. We are becoming desensitized and rapidly desensitized to it, which is concerning.
Right. So one question that I just have personally that I want you to know, Matt, that I'm disappointed because as a musician, and I know that you have some musical talents as well, that you don't have a campaign jingle. And, if we're talking about commercials that are going to be coming out to local people, I can still remember the campaign jingles of my childhood. So why don't you have a campaign jingle?
You want to know what's so funny about that? Is during my run for town council, I actually did start, I wrote just a little simple chord progression and a simple verse, and it was just deemed a little too corny, so we didn't go with it. But it's funny, it's something I have messed around with, but just haven't you
got 7 days. That's all I can tell you. So whenever I was a child,
yes.
There was a guy running for office. His name was Guy Milner. Now,
that's a good name.
I would not vote for him today, but I still remember his name because his campaign jingle was, "It's time for work, not politics. He's our Guy Milner." Yeah, completely would not vote for him, but 40 years later, I remember his name. We just have to think about how Matt would get into a jingle.
I gotta revisit that, I think.
7 days, I'm telling you. We gotta turn this out. All right, Matt. We, as I have said on our other faith exchanges, that these are briefer. Like I had planned on having an hour-long session with another candidate. So we get a short session tonight. Let's talk about November 8th. All right? So this is good exposure for you, for both those people that are watching at home, as well as the captive audience that you have in front of you. So if somebody has been watching tonight and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm a Republican who loved the way that Matt answered the questions and I want to get involved. Yeah. I want to get involved in the Matt Desfer campaign.
Yes.
What do they do?
Yeah, it's very easy. Text or call me, 860-744-8844. You can text or call me any day, anytime, and we will set you up with somebody to get involved. You can make phone calls, you can door knock. We have a wonderful grassroots infrastructure. We've hit something between calls and door knocking, something like 10,000 contacts we've made. So we are really cooking there, and we could use all the help we could get. We're not letting up until the polls close.
At 8 p.m. on November 8th.
8 p.m. November 8th.
Okay, that's right. Just in case people had forgotten that's November 8th. So I think that I know the answer to this question, but I've said to people, I'm still sending money to Georgia, weekly on those races, and they're still asking me for money multiple times a day. So your campaign, do people need to send in, cash, check, Bitcoin, box of donuts?
Right. So if they wanted to, they could donate to our local town committee. But actually, Connecticut, I know that you are aware of this, but Connecticut does, it's very few states do this. We have the Citizens Election Program, which just really levels the playing field. You can, you just got to get a certain amount of $5 donations, and then and then raise a certain amount of money. It's like for a state rep, it's like almost $6,000, and then the state kicks in the rest, and you can't take in any more money. right? It's just that levels the playing field. It's really a wonderful model, and it should be adopted everywhere because it levels the playing field. It makes somebody, you don't have to have money, right? That's such a problem in politics is money. So you don't have to have it here in Connecticut to run, which is awesome.
That is awesome. Yes, you should see the text messages that I've received today from my candidates in Georgia. They blow up my phone constantly.
Yes.
Bless their hearts. So I have asked the questions that I'm interested in. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I've asked the questions that you are interested in. As we are coming in for a landing here, is there anything that you want to share with people at home, people here, that I have not asked?
So the main thing I would want to share is that the 59th district is not an extremist district. It's not a right-wing extremist district. It's not a left-wing extremist district. It's a blue-collar district. These are purple voters, and they need an independent voice. An independent voice should, I believe, would be the best representation of that district. And I am very proud to have been endorsed by 3 political parties, the Independent Party, the Working Families Party, and the Democratic Party. And I believe what that shows is that I have a track record of caring far more about my constituents and their needs than the needs of any one political party. And I truly believe that that is what's needed in this district. And I think that our message and our leadership can really do some great things for Enfield and East Windsor.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Matt, again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Folks sitting at home right now, this is where I make up my closing announcements, and I get to say that this was our last Faith Exchange of the season, so we have none of those to look forward to, but 2 closing announcements. One is this weekend on Saturday, the church will be having our annual fall festival. We will have Trunk or Treat, where kids get to go around and get candy. We will have bounce houses, and we will have food and a concert inside at 4 o'clock. The event is 3 to 6 p.m. I hope that you will come out and enjoy that afternoon with us. And then finally, on Election Day, November 8th, in this very room, we will be having an Election Day prayer vigil. Now, Matt, I'm sure that you will be busy at the polls, so you probably won't see you here that evening. But while people are still going to vote, we are going to come together 7 p.m. and pray. Pray for God's direction for our country. So my directive for you is this: go vote first. Go vote, and then come here at 7 p.m., and we will spend about an hour together before you go home and watch election returns like I will. Friends, until I see you again.